Next feature is Directive Principles of State Policy, means DPSP. So according to Dr. Ambedkar, the DPSP means Directive Principles of State Policy is a novel feature of the Constitution. The DPSP are meant to promote ideal of social and economic democracy, and the FRs promotes political democracy. DPSP seek to establish a welfare state in India. The framers of our constitution had perceived such a structure of constitution which is for the welfare of humanity. The constitution framers wanted that the state shall determine their own policies in such a manner that the living standard of people of the country are raised, children get free education, no one is deprived of justice, equal pay for equal work, economic security, decentralization of power, etc. So these welfare provisions are not made compulsory, but it is the duty of a welfare state to implement them, and it is left on the availability of resources with the state as well. Now there has been decision of the judiciary which provide the directive principle of state of the position of fundamental rights. Next feature of our constitution is fundamental duties. So these were not there in the original constitution but added during the operation of internal emergency, that is during 1975 and 77 by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment. By the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976 on the recommendation of Swarn Singh Committee. The 86th Constitutional Amendment also added one more fundamental duty in it, and these fundamental duties are there in the part 4A of the constitution, means article 51A. Only this article consists these provisions. The Indian constitution adopts universal adult franchise as a basis of election to the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assembly. So this is the next feature of our constitution. So every citizen who is not less than 18 years of age has a right to vote without any discrimination of caste, race, religion, sex, literacy, wealth, and so on. Here you will have to remember this thing: the voting age was reduced to 18 years from 21 years in 1989 by 61st Amendment Act of 1988. So another important feature is provision of single citizenship. Though we have federal structure like center and state, but still the citizens get single citizenship. Every person is called citizen of India and they cannot claim double citizenship like in America. Despite the constitutional provision for a single citizenship and uniform rights for all the people, next feature is independent body. So like we have legislative, executive and judicial organs of the government, also we have certain independent bodies in the constitution like election commission, comptroller and auditor general CAG, which audits the account, etc. UPSC, Union Public Service Commission, to conduct examinations, etc. State Public Service Commissions. So the constitution ensures the independence of these bodies through various provisions like security of tenure, fixed service conditions, etc. The Constitution of India contains elaborate emergency provisions to enable the president to meet any extraordinary situation effectively. So this is our next important feature, emergency provision. This emergency provision is to safeguard the sovereignty, unity, integrity and security of the country. So what are the types? You can say there are three types of emergencies, like national emergency, on the ground of war or external aggression, or armed rebellion. Article 352 covers it. Another feature is, another emergency provision, state emergency, means president's rule on the ground of failure of the constitutional machinery in the state. Article 356 covered it. So the constitutional machinery failure or failure of comply with the direction of the center. These two factors are responsible for state emergency or president's rule, which is covered under Article 365. And next is financial emergency on the ground of threat to the financial stability or credit of India, which is being covered under Article 360. During an emergency, the central government becomes all powerful and the states go into the total control of the center. Means here we can see the federal structure of the state into a unitary one. So next feature is three-tier government. So earlier in the constitution we had dual polity and contained provisions with regard to the organization and power of the state and center. But later on, with 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act 1992, a third tier of government, that is local government, was added. The 73rd Amendment Act of 1992 gave constitutional recognition to the panchayats, that is rural local government, by adding a new part 9th and new schedule 11 to the constitution. And similarly, 74th Amendment Act of 1992 gave what? Recognition to the municipalities, that is urban local government, by adding another new part, that is 9th A, and a new schedule, that is schedule 12 to the constitution. So with this we have got two new schedules, that is schedule 11 and 12, and two parts, that is part 9 and part 9a. So the last feature in the list is secular state. So Constitution of India stands for a secular state. It does not uphold any particular religion as the official religion of the Indian state. So the term secular was added to the preamble by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act of 1976. Basically, secular means the state has no religion. Religion will not be allowed to interfere in state matters, and state will not interfere in religious matters. So religion is a private affair in India, but Indian secularism is different from that of Western secularism. We talk about equal promotion of all religions, but in Western secularism it is more about neutrality. In India we don't talk about neutrality. We realize tolerance of all religions and respect for all religions in India. In India, we can be deeply religious but at the same time be secular. So this was all for today's lecture. In the next lecture, we'll come up with some more interesting topics of polity and history. Thank you.